only one that has glasses on.
Well, hello everybody. This is Caleb May, and I'm so blessed today to be with some former teachers and substitute teachers. And so we'll just share a little video here with them. And so, guys, I know probably most folks looking at this know exactly who you are, but if you wouldn't mind, let's start with Mrs. Balaun on the right and work over and just introduce yourselves briefly.
Hi everyone, I'm Lisa Balaun, and I may have been your second grade teacher in 95 through 2002. So we had a little pet rat and always enjoyed Zooland with many of the kids. And Loretta here was my substitute when Alexis was born.
Yeah.
And other times, and she would tell me stories of some naughty children that when no,
she left great plans. I am Loretta Rentfro, and I am a sub, but I retired, of course. I did various schools, and this was one of my favorite schools here at Dover. It really was. We could go outside anytime. It was snowy. And play games outside. Times have changed, though. I can tell you that.
And always in August, a fun memory was how warm the schools would be, and everyone would come in with all sorts of energy, and by about noon, we'd all be on the desk, tired and hot, and nobody really cared to go outside to play. The windows open, fans going. But like Loretta said, what an amazing place that Dover Elementary was.
So where were some of the places that you subbed besides Dover?
Well, originally I started out teaching. Okay, so I haven't always been a sub. And I subbed at the high school here at 437, over there at Overspring Rural, in the grade school, all the grade schools in that area. And I substituted in California for a little while my husband was in the service.
Very good. And we've got Miss Forgy over here.
Okay. And I was here from 1990 to 2002. And I worked several different schools, and so I never really got as fully connected into Dover as the teachers that were here full time. But I can tell you, I just told Caleb today, I remember him in class, and we were doing West Side Story, and there weren't enough girls, and there were too many boys. So Caleb volunteered to do a woman's part, and he just today did a little rendition, and I was telling Lisa earlier, I laughed till I cried. It was even more hilarious today than it was, what was it, 30 years ago. So anyway, so that's one of my memories. And then there were the sad memories, like when Brenda Keller was killed, and that was probably one of the worst, maybe the worst tragedy that ever happened. And so I remember that at her funeral, the doves flying into the blue sky. And was it from this playground? I think it was right here.
It may have been, or of course the cemetery is right there.
Yeah.
Right.
So it all would have been right
so
here
we
somewhere.
were at the cemetery, not the playground. Yeah. So that was the tragedy. And I'm just having a senior citizen problem today, because people come up to me and I know them, and I can't think, and then suddenly it comes into focus. I think, oh my God, okay.
So do you recall any of the students from 1990, did you say, when you first came? Or?
Well, your classmate Shay.
Oh, Shay DeForest, yeah.
Yes, and I remember Shay very, very vividly, because Shay had a good personality. She was a leader, and she could. There were some boys in her class that were a little bit, not you, Caleb, but they could get more than rambunctious. And Shay could just really hold her own, and I always admired that quality, how she just
Well, those girls had a boy boot camp in a major way because in kindergarten there were only 5 of them, I think. And we didn't really end up with more girls until about 3rd grade. There were some that moved in. By the time we were in 8th grade, there were quite a few girls. But those ones that were around from the beginning, the Finson twins and Shay and Alicia, were there all from the beginning. And so they really they had to roll with the punches with all the rambunctious boys. We would catch the little ringneck snakes by the stone building on the way to the junior high for music class and sometimes for gym and stuff, and put them in the girls' hair, and they would scream. So all that stuff.
We're teachers, right?
No. Yeah.
A fun little walk from the elementary over to the middle school for music.
That is for sure.
My idea of the training they should give kids that think they want to be teachers would be to bring them into a class like what Caleb was just describing, and let them kind of see, how would you handle this situation?
Right.
Because those of us had a problem with stress. That made things more difficult. So, but now when I get stressed, I just go to the gym, so I don't have to.
Yeah, like they used to say on the playground, ready or not, here I come. I think no matter how much you think you're prepared, as soon as you're thrown in with kids, it's a baptism by fire.
I think it'd be hard, much harder today to teach. All the paperwork, keeping up with everything,
Well,
just
Miss Balaun is still
sounds-
teaching, right? And where is
the
that?
last 19 years, I've been a school counselor at Royal Valley
Oh.
District. And so I work with preschool through 4th grade. And then I'm a coordinator for Parents as Teachers program, which is birth to age 5.
That's great.
Preschool program. So I get to teach in at every level. But I'm, at this point, planning to retire after next year.
That doesn't seem real, does it?
This is my 31st year in education.
That's
so
amazing. These years just fly by, don't they?
They do. They do.
Incredible. Oops. Okay, well, we ended up with a little bit of a different video here. Okay, well, thank you so much for sharing with us today. Is there any other thoughts or memories that you guys want to part with? Or
Just all the smiles that I remember. But, I'm a little nervous because people change so much from elementary to adulthood, like Bernadette was saying. I remember faces, but they've just changed. All the teachers you recognize right away, but then,
Sure.
when you're an elementary teacher and then you see your students as adults, it sometimes takes a while to figure
yeah.
out.
Well, I substitute taught, so I can kind of commiserate a little bit with Mrs. Renfro here. For 2 years after college in the Auburn-Washburn district and the Mission Valley district, and special ed and seniors and preschoolers and everything in between, and it really is a wild ride.
Yes, it is.
And of
A
course,
great
they
ride.
always want to pull one over on the
so.
sub, and
yes.
so you have to lay down the law right at the first.
I felt like all the kids at Dover knew you though, and so it
well,
wasn't so much like having a sub.
I can't think there was any big thing happened except it was in 2nd grade that a boy brought a gun to school at that time, and we went to the office. Yes.
I guess so.
It was, and I didn't know what kind of gun it was. I don't know. But it was.
It was different times. There were still guns in the rack of the pickups
Oh,
at Mission
absolutely.
Valley when I was a student there. So,
I did the junior high over there too, and some of them were rowdy, as you say. And I remember the principal came into the room. I can't think of his name right now, and said, "You guys be quiet. She
Mr.
is a
Davis?
guest. She is a guest in our school." And I thought, Oh, really?
It could have been.
It made me feel good.
It could have been Dr. Davis, or depending on when, it could have been
I
Glenn
think it
Lang
might have
even.
been.
They
Yeah.
had lip.
And there was an Ann Schutz that was principal at one time.
Who?
Ann Schutz. His,
I think he was a superintendent.
well, but then wasn't his son Brian or somebody?
That might be. I don't know if it was here or possibly one of the other schools.
Was a principal.
He was a superintendent.
And then he
Hmm.
was super-
Yeah.
He was principal at the high school when I was
Pam
there.
Leptic was
Yeah.
Oh, she
principal when my first year here.
And I
And
substituted.
second.
She taught over there too. I
Mhm.
substituted in one of her classes, and she did something that I thought was really interesting. She was trying to make the 7th grade, or whatever grade it was over there at the time, just to sit and do nothing
Hmm.
for a while. They
Mindfulness.
couldn't.
Mm.
They couldn't do it.
I volunteer. I could do that.
Now we can.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on. Of course, you know, as a kid, you don't always know what's going on with the teachers and stuff. It may have been some sort of a strike or something. But I recall that for a week or two, we didn't do anything like class related. We played games. And that was some of the best time, looking back on it, actually playing chess and playing checkers and all of these different things that we played. It was kind of an extended tournament almost of things like that. But
And you learned more right then?
Possibly.
weirdly so, I think.
You
Yeah.
learn so much from games. I mean, that
Mhm.
to me is a lost.
Oh, yeah.
It really is. And you talked about the snow and being able to go out in the snow. I remember we'd start out rolling a snowball, and before we knew it, it was taller than us. And we would throw our little bodies into the snowballs to keep them rolling. And, you know, the plan was to make a big wall that we could then, you know, throw snowballs back and forth. I don't think we ever got the plan completely to fruition, but there were these humongous snowballs then that would last way after the snow did and would gradually whittle down, you know. So.
Absolutely.
And when we did have inside recess, there was tiddlywinks and the little frogs that you got to jump, and twister, and all kinds of pick-up sticks and connects and Lincoln logs and things like this that we could all get our hands on and play with. And I think that's so much better than all the digital stuff that we have nowadays.
Absolutely.
Did anybody, you know how to play fox and geese in the snow?
No.
I don't think I
Oh,
do.
Sounds like a
Well,
tracking
I
game.
had talked to anybody who knew. It was fun.
Okay. Very good. Well, thank you guys for sitting down with me, and we'll say, you know, wish you were here to all the folks in Facebook world, and we'll have to do this again sometime.
And Kayla, thank you so much for all the work you have done. You have put in so much time and effort on this.
Well, this was an idea whose time had come. I was pushing on an open door, so I think it was probably long past time to do something like this. So,
What is that?
yeah, and we sure miss Rogine
You're
Willard,
missing
you
a lot
know.
of
We
people
do.
out there right
And
now.
that was one of my memories with, you know, all of the chicks that Mrs. Willard would hatch
Hmm.
every spring.
And her shaggy
And her
rabbit.
Science, and I just love listening to her talk about science and students here at Dover. So.
It's too bad.
Yes.
about her.
Yep, but she's looking down on us today, I think. She would have been right in here with us.
Yes.
Good deal. Well, thank you guys.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.